like 10 minutes.
This is the Talkin Bout the Hoosiers podcast, presented by TheHoosier.com.
Hello, Hoosier Nation, and welcome in to the Hoosier.com postgame wrap-up. The Indiana Hoosiers just took down Oregon 92-74. Kyle, you're in Assembly Hall. Lamar Wilkerson, it was a historic day in Bloomington, honored the 1975-76 team, the last undefeated college basketball team in history. So now Indiana, in case you forgot, Indiana has the last two national champions that are undefeated in a season with football and basketball. So, don't forget it in case you already have. So they honored them, announced Bob Knight's statue at halftime. And then, Lamar Wilkerson scores 40 because, of course he does. That's what Lamar Wilkerson does. Starts the game 0 for 4 or 0 for 5, then makes his next 8, 12 of his next 13 shots. I mean, Tyler, what more can we say about Lamar Wilkerson at this point?
I mean, I guess the more that he could have done, he could have scored at least 4 more points, right? No, I'm just kidding. So, historic day, right even before the game even started, we got a chance to talk to members of the last undefeated team, 50 years ago, Quinn Buckner, Kent Benson, those guys, like you guys that have really set a foundation of what Indiana basketball is. And then obviously those guys get honored at halftime, truly special. They announce the plans of building a Bob Knight statue in the south lobby of Assembly Hall, perfect spot for that. And, talking about the game, obviously this was a game that Indiana won. They couldn't lose at all, right? Because this is truly like the one and only bad loss that they could necessarily have that was remaining on their schedule. Obviously Indiana still has more work to do in getting a few more wins, but regardless of what happens the rest of the season, they won't necessarily have a bad loss to their resume. So that's a big talking point, coming out of this game. And then obviously they just took care of business, right? It was a little sloppy at first. Pace was a little choppy, I thought, from both sides of the ball. And, eventually Indiana just kind of exploded, right? And this was like the first time in a long time that Indiana has really kind of put their foot on the gas, right, and just kept it there. It didn't really let up or anything. And a lot of that's from Lamar Wilkerson, right? I mean, 41 points, 13 of 20, 6 of 12 from 3, 9-11 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, what more can you ask of this guy? I mean, this is the type of performance that he is a first-team All-Big Ten guy, and he proved it today.
Yeah, I mean, he started 0 for 5 in this game, too, which is the craziest part about the whole thing. He missed his first 5 shots, and it was like, oh, this might be a rough game for him. And then he just turned up. Kyler, you mentioned, them, especially down the stretch, like how well Indiana played offensively. I don't know if you've had a chance to look. Have you looked at the second half, like the shooting splits?
I have not.
All right, I'm going to you should take a look, but I'm going to say them right here. Indiana shot 81.8% from the field. They missed 4 shots in the second half, and they shot 63.6 from 3. They missed more free throws in the second half than they missed shots from the field. They were 18 from 22, 7 for 11 from 3, and then they were 13 of 18 from the field. So Indiana was more likely to make a jump shot than they were to make a free throw in the second half. That's how well they shot the ball.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you when the offense is like clicking like that, they're out, and they have ability to go out and play like that. They're doing a really good job in transition. Defense is leading the offense. That is the best version of Indiana basketball right here. That is what Coach DeVries wants. And I understand Oregon, they aren't the best team in the Big Ten, right? They're one of the worst teams, but they are a talented team, right? KJ Evans, Biddle is good. Like, they have talent on this team. It's not like they beat up on some high school team, some low Division I team. They played a Big Ten team tonight, and we're able to put up numbers like that. That's just so amazing to watch, right? And that's the type of basketball that you want to see out of Indiana basketball. That's when they're at their peak. When I look at, the whole entire game from a just overall standpoint, I really can't pick off anything necessarily super bad from what I saw out of the guys. Nick Dorn finally got it going, 11 points. Sam Alexis, 16 points, was just phenomenal again. Tucker DeVries had a good night. Conrad Enright did his thing. Josiah Miles had some good minutes off the bench as well. Reed Bailey had some nice minutes off the bench. Like, they are playing so well. Their chemistry is just clicking all at the right time. Yeah, games have been tough. They've blown a few leads, down the stretch of a few games, gotten into overtime. Things have gotten, a little bit, scary at times for this team, in the last 6 games. But tonight, they needed a game like this, right? They just needed a game where they go out there, take care of business on their home floor, build some momentum as they head into a really tough back-to-back game with Illinois and Purdue coming up. And, their opportunity to stay on that right side of the bubble, there's plenty of it right now.
Yeah, I want to talk about Sam Alexis. Tyler, before we started recording, I made a point how Alexis, last 2 games he's missed one shot. I didn't realize it's not last 2 games; it's the last 5 games. Sam Alexis has missed one shot. I mean, 24 of 25 just the last 2 games. Most of it has come in the last 2 games. He played for 8 tonight, 9 of 10 on Saturday. So 17 of 18 in his last 2 games and 24 of 25 in his last 5.
Yeah, Sam Alexis is becoming that anchor for Indiana, and so many positive ways. He's brought a lot of energy. I go back to that Wisconsin game, obviously, where he kind of took over for that 5-6 minute stretch there. Tonight he was he's the best big guy I think on the floor, without question, and he's just stepping up. When Indiana do what? What were you
I think
saying?
we're losing Kyle. Kyle, we're losing you right now.
You can't hear me?
I cannot. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with your internet right now. I'm gonna mute you for a second until it resets. But yeah, I mean, Sam Alexis, it's we talked about him and Reed Bailey as that like duo coming into the year. It was like who's gonna step up? It was like Reed Bailey's had his troubles. He's had some like really good performances, but it's been a mixed bag. Sam Alexis over the last 2 weeks, it's he's kind of established himself as the lead. Like he's been the lead guy for a while now, but he's separated himself. And Reed Bailey, it's not even like he's played bad. I mean, today wasn't his best performance. He had the missed layup at the end of the first half, and then in the second half, he did have an M1. I think 1 for 2 from the field. Like only played 15 minutes, but that was because of how good Reed Bailey was. Good to have you back, Kyler.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you now. It's funny because on the back end here, the people can't see this, but you have another, like there's 2 Kyler Staleys here.
Oh, well, good. Yeah. You get plenty of my face tonight. But were you talking about Sam Alexis?
Yes, I was talking about how he's taken that, the starting role and like ran with it. Like Reed Bailey, it's funny because he's played pretty well over the last month. It's just Sam Alexis has been so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of mentioned it a little bit, or at least I thought I was mentioning it. I mean, Sam Alexis is he's becoming that kind of that steady anchor for Indiana right now. When Indiana needs a big play down low, they need somebody to kind of step up. He has been that in a lot of ways, and he's becoming that true, front court presence that the Hoosiers they really need it, right? And they're still going to struggle with depth. Reed Bailey, Sam Alexis, that lineup is what it is right now. I think Coach DeVries has done a good job of keeping those guys, active. Playing them in their best spots right now. Reed Bailey, you mentioned that he's had a pretty good month of basketball, right? It hasn't been astonishing numbers by any stretch of the means, but he's playing better. Coach Breeze is putting him in much better positions to play where he's more comfortable at. But Sam Alexis, I mean, he is, one of the best stock risers, I think, in the Big Ten right now. And he's that steady presence down low, and he brings it on both ends of the floor. He's not going to be the biggest, center on the floor. He's very, very strong, very, very stout. But just really good basketball from him as of late. And it's a big reason why Indiana has been able to win, 5 of the last 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a big factor, and it's, Darren DeVries trusting him. I also thought this was one of Darren DeVries' best game as a coach. He came in against his mentor. He worked under Dan Altman for a while. Altman kind of gave him his start in coaching. They told the story on the broadcast of Darren DeVries shushing Dana Altman's team when he played against him in Northern Iowa, and then Altman going and hiring him, and he's a grad assistant for the guys he just shushed like 6 months ago, which was really funny to hear. But there was a moment in this game, and it, you look at Indiana winning by 18, and you're like, oh, was there really any like big decisions for DeVries? Indiana was up 15 in the second half, and Oregon, Biddle hit a 3, and then they got an easy layup and to cut it to 10 with 13:33 left. DeVries called timeout right away. It's something I think I've been pretty vocal about this, wanting DeVries be a little more aggressive with his timeouts. And you're up 10, and he could have easily just let it play it out. Calls the timeout. Out of the timeout, they get a good look for Lamar Wilkerson, and Indiana goes in and doesn't let Oregon get the game ever. To single digits. Indiana was able to keep the lead at double digits and then extend the lead off of that timeout. And that's been the thing. It's like the psychology of it in a sense, Kyler, where it's like, the difference between 10 points and 9 points isn't really that big of a difference, but like the double digits for single digits, not letting Oregon get within single digits, keeping them at 10 at closest they got. It's a big thing, for the psychology of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to talk about there was one moment, with Coach DeVries. I think this is worth mentioning. Lamar Wilkerson, when he was, pretty much taking over the game, right? He got fouled. I want to say it was probably around like the 8-ish minute mark, somewhere around there. Probably way off on what exact moment it was, in the second half. But he gets fouled on the three right in front of Indiana's bench. And who was the first person to pick up Lamar Wilkerson that's on the ground? Coach Darren DeVries. And not only did he pick him up, he gave him a big handshake, a big high five, and everything. That's just the little things, right? And that's something that we haven't seen out of an Indiana program probably since the Tom Crean era, right? I feel like Tom Crean probably did something similar to that. But to me, that just goes to show you that the passion, the will to, do the best he possibly can. Just everything about Coach DeVries. Yeah, he's not the most, personality-wise, he's pretty bland in a lot of ways and stuff because he's just a basketball coach, right? And he wants to coach basketball, right? And showing that, he's here for his guys. He's going to lift them up no matter what, no matter what, if they're down or whatnot. He's going to be there for his guys. And to me, that just goes to show that he's got the right system, right? We talked about it. He's got the right system, the right mindset to lead this Indiana program. He's just got to get the right players long-term, right, with that. But that moment in particular, the Lamar Wilkerson 41 points tonight, Sam Alexis's great performance, everything. That moment tonight stood out to me more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's Darren. I think you and I have been pretty vocal about our belief in Darren DeVries. Maybe not this year with this roster, but moving forward, we like what we've seen.
Yeah,
but again, it's a process, and this team is playing, really good basketball right now. But they head into a tough stretch. It's going to be, it's going to be really telling when they go. You go to Purdue, go to Illinois, and play those games you're not really supposed to win. And can they maybe take one of those games and, then you go from, all right, is this team going to be on the bubble or just inside, or could they maybe make a little, push and, improve their tournament standing? Because Indiana, there is still a path for Indiana, maybe get up to the, a 6 on the 6 line or 5, into the top 25. It's not going to be easy. It means you're going to go to, you're going to have to beat a Michigan State. You're going to have to beat an Illinois or a Purdue. You're going to have to do something like that. Yeah. But I also want to, if you want to jump in.
I'll just say right now, other than Michigan State had a big win and stuff. Nebraska. Indiana's got a case for the hottest team right now in the Big Ten in many, many ways. 5 of their last 6 games that they won. Illinois.
It's Illinois, Kyler. Come on.
I'm just saying Indiana's got an argument to be made right now. They're playing really good basketball right now. Really, really good basketball.
Yeah, I guess actually because Illinois, they just lost their last game to Michigan State. I'm looking.
Right.
I forgot about that. But, they'd won 12 straight. Indiana is in that conversation for sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess I have 2 more things before we wrap, Kyler. I know we said 10 minutes, going a little longer. Tucker DeVries, another solid game for him. 5 for 10 from the field, 15 points, 7 assists too. And then Connor Enright too, only 5 points. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive, especially when teams are sagging off him. But 6 rebounds, 8 assists, doing all the little things as you want him to be doing. Just both, 2 really good performances for both of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2 guys that have been in Coach DeVries' system the longest out of them. And, those guys just doing what they need to do. And I think we've mentioned this a few times lately, but Tucker DeVries, playing within himself, letting the game come to him, has been one of the best kind of changes that Indiana has seen. He's not forcing the issue by any stretch of the means. He's taking shots where he feels comfortable at. And like you kind of mentioned, he's rebounding, he's assists, he's playmaking. He's doing the things that he needs to do to be for Indiana to get these wins, So, and Connor Enright, obviously, I think he had a pretty easy night, right? He did his thing out there and stuff. But when you got a guy like Lamar Wilkerson, going off like he was and the lead, where it ended up being at, I think he can take a night off. I think Connor Enright kind of deserves a night off. How hard he's been playing. But overall, really impressive win by Indiana. Just taking care of business. There was no stress at all. Going up against Oregon. Now you can kind of rest up a little bit. Yeah, you rest up a little bit, and you take that when you're in Big Ten play, right? So you'll have a tough game on Sunday versus Illinois, and kind of see what they can do next week. Hopefully, if they can go 1-1, the next 2 games between Illinois and Purdue, both on the road, yeah, I think that pretty much would seal up a NCAA tournament berth right there.
Yeah, just about. I don't know if you've before we wrap, Kyler, the last kind of thing I have. It's not as much Indiana. I don't know if you've noticed. I keep looking to my right.
What's going on here?
It's Kansas right now is looking to knock off Arizona. For the those who are looking for Indiana to remain as the last undefeated national team. Arizona, is in the way of that. Kansas leads by 2 right now with 2 minutes left. So that's why I've been looking back and forth.
One last thing I want to say: Biddle's balding chance by the Indiana student section, brutal for Nate Biddle. I just gotta say that, but he took it like a champ tonight. He took it like a champ, but that's brutal.
Yeah, he didn't play well. You actually reminded me. I wanted to bring this up. He didn't play well today. I mean, it was 3 for 14, but he had 15, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. His passing, it stood out to me last year. There was one play on the block where he got doubled, and Indiana played the double maybe as perfectly as he could. I think it was Connor Enright fled to the open shooter as Biddle was like making that pass, and then at the last second, as Enright is in the passing lane, Biddle goes across court over the basket into the opposite side corner for a wide open 3. It was one of the best passes I've seen a big make out of the double.
Yeah.
Maybe in college, I've seen at this level. It was an unbelievable look from him.
Yeah, and I'm actually seeing Nate Biddle down. There's a lot of Oregon fans that are still there, so doesn't look like they're in any hurry to leave. Hopefully they don't have any flight issues or anything. But Nate Biddle's Oregon's had it tough, right? They had a lot of injuries this year. Dana Altman's a really good coach. He is one of the better coaches in the league, right? And he just had a tough year. So Oregon would also be a team that I really don't want to play in the Big Ten tournament. So so you never know. You never know what they can do. So I'm pretty much don't have anything else to say. So
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they could be very with Biddle coming back, where they're going to be seeded in the Big Ten tournament, that they could be a dangerous team. But that's going to do it for us here on this edition of the Hoosier.com post-game wrap-up. For all things Indiana athletics, make sure you guys subscribe to the Hoosier, the Hoosier.com, a part on 3 and Rivals, guys. We got all the national, media, Pete Nakos, Joe Tipton, all the top insiders with recruiting, transfer portal, all that stuff. We got you covered. It's going to be on the sites, all the, insights, who Indiana's targeting right now. We also, for football, just added Shane Pickering to the team, who, he's going to be on the road going to these camps. His first actually high school football camp he covered was Charlie Becker was in attendance in Tennessee. So, guys, make sure you follow him if you haven't done so already. Subscribe on YouTube, guys. It's literally one click of a button like this video. It means the world to us. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning into this edition of the Hoosier.com post-game wrap-up. We'll be back.